Blog Talk Radio.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Doctors Are In here on the Psyche Talk Radio Network. I am your host, Dax Carlisle. I am a tarot advisor, numerologist, hypnotherapist, and life coach from Tucson, Arizona, calling in live here. We are a live call in the show, by the way, so give us a ring, 714-816-4628. And you can join us on the chat post at psychetalk.net/chat. Yes, we've set up, this is something new, folks. We're doing a chat post on our Facebook group, and there'll be one for each episode on the network. And you can just go over there, and in the comments on the post, you just type in the comments and use it like a chat room. And you can ask for mini readings there. You can describe your situation. You can comment on the show, comment on the topic, chat, discuss, chat with us, all there. And to make it really easy, you know, it's on our Psyche Talk Radio Facebook group, probably towards the top of the group right now. If you're listening live, you can go over there and find it. But we decided to make it really easy to get to this chat post. You just, wherever you're listening to us, you know, just open a new tab in your browser, type in psychetalk.net/chat, and that will take you to the chat post on our Facebook group. We also have a Tarot Guild Facebook group with over 6,300 people. If you're into tarot and numerology, the Tarot Guild is the sponsor of today's show, the International Organization for Tarot Lovers, Students, and Professionals since 2004. Come visit us on our website at thetarotguild.com. And joining me, as always, is the other host of The Doctors Are In, the better half. Here she is. She is a certified life coach and spiritual teacher, and every Friday she joins me to dispense her wisdom and wonderful tools for life, such as mantras and shamanic journeying and more. Yes, we call her the Mantra Maven. Here she is live from Berkeley, California, Dr. Rose Wilkerson. Hey, Rose.
Hey, Dax. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Wonderful Friday.
Oh, it's overcast here in Tucson. We've been dealing with these, 110 to 115 degree days, and today it's cool. There's a breeze. It's overcast. I'm out on the patio. You might hear a car, truck, or motorcycle go by, folks. I apologize ahead of time for that. But it's just too nice to be in the office. So I'm out here on the patio, and it's just been a really busy morning. Rose and I were talking about that in the green room. Just insane trying to get everything almost to the start of the show. Yes, and, if I hadn't accidentally looked at my calendar, I would not have even known that it was Patriot Day. I mean, that's how out of it I am. It's like, what day is it? Oh, my God, it's 9/11. It's the 19th anniversary of 9/11. In fact, next year it'll be 20 years. Can you believe that, Rose? 20 years?
Wow, yeah. 19 years. 19 years now. It just seems, wow.
It was like,
it
feels like it was yesterday. Do you remember where you were?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was in New York. Not in the city, but I was living with my parents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just about 45 minutes north of New York City. And actually, on that day, my mother was leaving on a flight to go someplace from Newark Airport, and we knew that one of the planes that hit, maybe the second one that hit the towers, was from Newark Airport in New Jersey. And we're like, oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
So it all turned out. It was there were several planes that were leaving that day, and hers was not the one that obviously hit the building or whatnot. So, but yeah, it was. That was a day. That was quite a day. Yeah.
Wow. I
also,
can't even remember.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to tell you mine. I mean, I don't have anything special like everybody else. I was just sitting in my apartment in Tucson, and back then I lived down in the city park, and back in those days, it was early internet and stuff, and I didn't really have a television or a radio. I mean, I listened to the radio when I was in my car.
Wow.
And I don't know, I think I was online and something came up, and then I was scrambling because, I couldn't just flip on the TV. I had to do searches on the, and it's not easy like it is nowadays. People have no clue how easy it is nowadays. I mean, back in the day,
that's
you
right.
were I had to find somewhere where it was being broadcasted onto the internet, so I could see what was going on. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And from age 15, I was in the Civil Air Patrol, the United States Air Force Auxiliary, before I went into the regular Air Force at 17, 18. And, I had already done 10 search missions before I was 18, and for the Air Force. And it was
wow.
Sometimes, this was in Pennsylvania, and sometimes it would be lost hunters, missing people, but it was mostly downed aircraft, crashed aircraft, and of course one of the planes crashed in Pennsylvania. And my ears picked up on all this, and I'm like, oh wow, and I'm wondering if some of my compatriots, from back in the day that were still, doing the search missions, if they had gone out, to the site. And it's usually the CAP that secures the site before the transportation board gets there, to investigate. And so it was just crazy. It was just,
It was.
I just can't believe.
And the place that I lived in, it was Cortland Manor, which is Peekskill. If you've heard of the Sing Sing prison that's up there, we were probably about a good 10, 15 minutes away from that. But what was interesting, now in that area, they actually have two nuclear plants. That's right off the Hudson River. One is on one side, the other's on the other. And I remember we were like, holy crap, because if that happens, then what's going to happen with the plants, because you just don't know if the nuclear plants only have, or at the time, maybe a 3-mile radius where a plane couldn't come in. But I'm thinking 3 miles, my goodness, for an airplane coming fast, there's just, you couldn't catch them in time. So we were really afraid up there, especially with the possibility of a plane or an explosion happening at the nuclear plant. So it was definitely a crazy day. And, and my heart goes out to all the families. My heart goes out to all the families and whatnot who lost members during that time, and anyone who's still suffering from that period of time, especially the
and all the first survivors too. I mean, first responders that died too. Yeah.
There were so many interesting stories that came out of, what happened, but one of here's the interesting thing, just on my end, and it's not like a dramatic story, just more of a connection. The very next day, my parents and I went out and got cell phones. My mother had a cell phone. It was an international one because she traveled internationally, but we were like, we need cell phones. I just remember the very next day, we're going to the mall, we're getting some cell phones so we can keep in contact, because my mom, she was trying to get out of the New Jersey, the Newark Airport in New Jersey, but she didn't have a cell phone in order to call us. So, she had the taxi guy stop at a payphone and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things that I remember is that, the next day we went out and got cell phones, and we've had them ever since. That was the day. They had cell phones out already, but we didn't need them most of the time. I was mostly, at home. I was with my dad, taking care of him and things of that nature. So we didn't really need it. But that day, we're like, we need a cell phone for sure. So that's
going back to what I was saying about the Air Force Auxiliary, one of the things I did was communications. And so, you know, we had the repeater towers, and we're doing the radio. You know, this was like before cell phones. You know, I mean, there was car phones, you know, from the late 60s and 70s even, you know, but nothing widespread.
Right.
And so I was an early adopter as far as cell phones goes, because I had been into the communications thing. So I always had a cell phone, you know, start off with a car phone, and then I had what they called a transportable, which was there was a big bag you carried around with the phone, and then they got smaller and integrated into a box, but it still had a strap on it. You carry it around and still had the receiver on it. You know, you pick up the hand with the cord.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then the brick phones came out, and then the flip phones, and then here we are today. And you know, I've always had the cell phone, but from my perspective, as you know, someone that's been to a lot of plane crash sites, you know, they're showing the site in Pennsylvania, and right away I knew something was weird about this whole situation. You know, I mean, I'm not like a 9/11 conspiracy theorist per se. I'm like in the middle where, you know, I've got questions, you know, because none of it made sense. All the early reports and everything. And here I am, you know, and I'm in my apartment just watching on the screen here, you know, these images coming through from the crash site, and I'm looking at and this is the one in Pennsylvania, and I'm looking and I'm going, well, where's the airplane? You know, this is a large jet transport, you know, and I've seen air crashes with, you know, small commuter planes and Cessnas that left more damage and more wreckage. You know, there's this hole in the ground. Titanium engines are nowhere to be found. I mean, those don't disintegrate people. You know, I mean, they could crash free fall. You know, they could drop off the wing and free fall 30,000 feet into the ground, and it would still be sitting there looking like a gigantic, you know, taller than a human being engine. They're made of titanium, people. It's indestructible, you know. And, you know, there was some, you know, pieces of stuff scattered around, and there was this hole. And I'm looking at that, and I'm going, wait a minute. I've been to a lot of air crashes, and this doesn't look anything like any crash I've been to. You know, certainly not a jumbo jet. You know, I mean, yeah, it wasn't a 747. What were they anyway? They were 737, 757.
Something like that. But yeah, I mean, it was nothing but ash. It was like just rubble and like it had just disintegrated, and it's like, wow. Right.
and they found wreckage or pieces going back for miles and miles before where the crash site is. Okay, so the plane comes in, crashes in. Okay, there's not going to be wreckage going back 5-10 miles leading up to unless something hit it in midair, like a missile or something hit it, exploded it, it disintegrated, pieces start falling out of the ground, and then it, you know, what's left went into that hole. I have a lot of questions still. I do, you know. Coming from the perspective of someone that's, you know, not a layman, someone that has done search operations, has done rescues, has been to many airplane crash sites, I've secured sites, you know, waiting for the Transportation Board to come and investigate, you know, the FAA and everything. And, you know, I won't even get into New York City. I won't even get into the Pentagon. Just that one crash supposedly in Pennsylvania. Got a lot of questions still. Yep. But it brings back
same
memories
thing with
because
the Oh yeah,
Go
yeah. It really no. I was thinking about the Pentagon too, and not that I'm getting deep into it, but just that, where the plane hit. It's like weird. It's like
I saw those pictures too, and that grainy video of what supposedly went into the side of the Pentagon. Remember, I was in the Air Force, folks. That looked like a cruise missile. That did not look like a 737 or a 757. I mean, those are big. And if it impacted the wall,
I remember it looking almost like, I wouldn't say a prop plane, but it wasn't. It didn't look like you said, it didn't look like a passenger plane, like something much smaller or something. Much
There's a lot
smaller,
of and it had the Well, and at that time we had the newer generation of cruise missiles, and I know what they look like, and it had a similar profile to that. It could have been a small plane, or it could have been a cruise missile. It was not a 737. Not in that picture.
Right.
I wasn't there, so I can't say anything. All I can say is, okay, I looked at the video footage. That is not a 737 going, flying by that camera, and it was all grainy anyway. But then there's the impact crater, the impact hole, in the side of the Pentagon, and there's this little punch hole, and I'm like, okay, so the gigantic titanium engines on the wings would have impacted the side, and they would have just stopped right there. Where are they? Where's the rest of the plane? There's, it all went in through that tiny little hole. These planes don't collapse and do that. And it was way too small of a hole anyway. Yeah. So, I got some serious questions about this stuff.
And the other thing, too, we were, and in terms of how all of that happened and how that played out, and what I had said earlier about, where I lived at the time, near the nuclear plants, not next door, but just in that area. And one of the things we were talking about, regardless of how it happened, who would happen, what happened, and all that kind of stuff, that if as horrific as that event was, if the purpose was to take out New York City, all they had to do was hit the nuclear plant, and that would have been it for all of us.
Fly all three planes into the nuclear plant, that would have had more of an effect,
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because I was living in Pennsylvania when we had 3 Mile Island, and we thought we were all going to get irradiated,
And they flew, I think one of them flew over that area. So, obviously that was a huge statement, and many deaths occurred.
Oh, yeah.
So that's no small feat. But if people, and I'm not giving anybody, hopefully I'm not putting any ideas out there in anybody's head, if you really wanted to take out New Yorkers, just that city alone, all you have to do is hit the nuclear plants, and that would have been it. And that would have been it for months and years, and, So we were still frightened, after that event, because we were like, oh my God. And they had this is just a real side note, in the area. So we live up in hill, well, it's really mountains and stuff, but more, not like Sierra Mountains, real high up stuff, more like huge hills type of things. And they have a little bit of a bus route here and there. And I remember we used to have these bus stops that said, in case of a nuclear problem, like the problem with the nuclear plant, stand here and a bus will come by and come get you. And I was like, no one's going to stay in town. We even stand here and wait for the bus.
Oh, my God, that's hilarious.
Like the most ridiculous thing. They had these bus stops in the area where you could stand and wait for it was just so strange. I was like, there is no way in heck anybody's going to hang around. If the nuclear plant goes,
that's funny.
Boom, no one's going to stand around. Oh, where's that bus? It should be
right.
any minute now.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Sorry,
guys.
Oh, my God. No, it's great.
But,
it's
this
great.
is...
And so I'm also, let me finish up with this. So, and then I'm watching, of course, the the first tower gets hit, the second tower gets hit. I'm like, oh my God, I was like shocked by that. And then of course, the towers collapse. What I tell people for a starting point is to don't even worry about the towers. In fact, forget about Pennsylvania. Forget about the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Think about how a little bit later we're all watching, and suddenly Tower 7, that wasn't hit by anything, collapse, pancake straight down like a controlled demolition. When you see
what do you
that,
mean Tower 7?
Tower 7.
Oh, I must have missed this.
You must. I thought. Well, hey, this is 20 years ago, so don't quote me on this. Maybe it was it Building 6, Building 7? I thought it was 7. Anyway, there's all these buildings in that complex, and then the two towers. The towers come down.
Oh, okay.
And then a while later, and they reported, I think it was on the BBC, that Building 7 had collapsed before it collapsed. and then you're watching it live, and it just goes straight down, which actually the towers did too.
Okay.
But people get confused about that, and they talk about the temperatures for the crash and blah 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 blah. Yeah. Okay. Don't pay attention to that then.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this one thing. Look at Building 7. How the hell did a 40-plus story building fall straight down like that when it barely had some fire damage? Something weird was going on, folks, and I'm not throwing out conspiracies. I'm not doing anything like that. I don't know.
Right.
No one knows. I'm in the middle here. I just have questions. There were a lot of questions.
There were a lot of strange things that were going on that day, and one of the things was that I remember some days later they said, "Oh, we found a wig, a backpack, and a foreign ID, from one of the countries. I don't know if it was Afghanistan or whatever it was, something like that, right?" And in the rubble, like, now you have to understand that you're talking about weeks and months.
Yes.
You can't sort through that. There's no way you could the rubble 3 or 4 days later. The place was total chaos. People were leaving the city.
Right.
Because people were covered in dust, and then all of a sudden you're going to find a wig, and like, I was just like, what the heck what do you mean you found this? You can't just find these things. It's dust. It's concrete and whatever else the buildings were made of, and unfortunately bodies. And there's no way you can just find this stuff hanging around somewhere. Oh, look, we found this around the corner. That's a symbol of
crazier
something.
than that. Yeah, well, crazier than that, Rose, and I don't know if we're talking about the same thing or not, but they found the passport from one of the supposed hijackers there at Ground Zero.
Yeah, I think that's
right
what I was talking about. I think there was some.
Yeah,
I think that was right.
So
right.
think about this. Think about this. They're on the plane. The plane crashes into the building. Fireball. Incredibly intense temperatures. The entire tower comes down, but a paper passport from one of the hijackers is found on the street there in New York City. Are you serious? I believe this crap. That's people actually believe that that's physically possible. It is not physically possible. It would have been burnt up or covered by a ton of debris from a gigantic 100-story tower or two. Come on,
two of them. Right.
Yes. They'll believe anything that's fed to them. What was it? P.T. Barnum, the late 1800s. Never underestimate the gullibility of the American public. He knew way back then. Back then. True. Wow.
Yeah,
well,
that was so weird.
As much as I could do a whole show or 3 on this, but we do have a topic today, timing in the tarot, and we are taking phone calls as well, folks. You can call in at 714-816-4628. As soon as you get through, press 1 on your dial pad. What that'll do is put you in the queue in the order that you called in. We take the calls in the order that they called in, and it'll put you at the top of the queue so we know that you want to talk with us. Otherwise, we just assume you're listening to the show, and that's perfectly fine, too. You can dial in that number during any of our shows and just listen. If you can't, get to a player or don't have Wi-Fi, you're out and about, you could just dial in. Or you don't want to use your data up, although most people have unlimited data these days, right, Rose? But, you can just call in and listen to the show. But if you want to chat with us, press 1. It's open lines, so anything that's on your mind. But you can also ask us about all of those wonderful topics that we chat about, from psychic development to numerology to tarot, anything you'd like to chat about. Ask us, your burning question about mantras, hypnotherapy, life coaching, or get a mini reading at 714-816-4628. That's 714-816-4628. And remember to press number 1 on your dial pad. By the way, when I said numerology, it popped in my head that there's a lot of weird things. When we numerologists started looking at the numbers involved with 9/11, there was way too many coincidences, and
wow.
too much to get into. Maybe we'll do a show on that. The numerology of 9/11.
Yeah. That'd be fantastic.
And also another thing is that leading up, as far as the tarot readers go, leading up to 9/11, the weeks before, a lot of tarot readers did report, because we have access to a lot of tarot readers through the Guild, and a lot of people did report getting the Tower card in the weeks leading up and the days leading up to 9/11.
Wow.
Isn't that fascinating?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
And of course, except for the ones that were really psychic, a tarot reader, reads the cards, and it's supposed to be in context to the question from the client, and so forth. So, this kind of thing, it doesn't necessarily, I don't know how to put it, it doesn't necessarily give a clue to a tarot reader that planes are going to crash into towers in a week or a few days. It's like, okay, the tarot card, what could that be? If you're seeing it a lot, and maybe it's sudden, unexpected change. Maybe something's going to happen. You're doing readings for people, and the tarot card keeps coming up, and maybe it's a message for you. Anyway, I just wanted to explain that to folks, why tarot readers weren't running around going, oh my God, the towers are going to come down. That's not how tarot works, okay? Even if you're getting the Tower card, it could mean so many different things. And the topic we're going to talk about today, timing in the tarot, the timing has a lot to do with the context. I think that people don't, sometimes new readers forget about that, putting it in context to the reading, and tend to overcomplicate the whole timing thing. And so we thought we'd do a show on timing because next to court cards, that's the biggest question we get. People overcomplicate the court cards, the kings, the pages, the knights, the queens, and have difficulty with them in readings. And but the next big area is how to do timing, and people get really confused. I think they overcomplicate it. We'll go into a little bit of that. Before we get into timing in the tarot, two things. We're going to I think we'll take a phone call or two, and I also wanted to mention the card of the day, the numerology of the day. 11, the day, is the Master Illuminator number. Now, this is one of those things, by the way, Rose, that was, we numerologists were looking at that this happened on 9/11. Okay.
Right.
And and of course, 11 reduces to 2. 1 plus 1 is 2, which is relationships, cooperation, partnerships, things along those lines. But it's also the master illuminator number. And then the whole date, 9/11/2020, 1 plus 5 is 6. So that's that return to harmony and balance after the chaos of 5 in numerology.
Mm-hmm.
And for the card of the day, I love this one. And I think it, I know after the radio show, actually, Dr. Rose and I are going to do a session. We've been doing some life coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is apropos to you. So listen really closely. It's the Queen of Swords. And, as a person, we're talking someone intelligent, truthful, clear communicator. All these things are you, Rose. This is so you. Self-aware, independent. Are you ready? Writer, teacher.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's pretty accurate.
And you're a teacher at Berkeley, so there you go. And so the message coming through today for September 11th, 2020 with the Queen of Swords is, today's a day to think about what you really want and to set yourself up to achieve it. So think of the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the Queen of Swords. She has that single sword. Swords are thoughts and ideas. It's the air element in tarot. And she has that single sword. She's focused on one idea or one project or one focused in on that. And she's using her clarity of mind and all her faculties versus going with the heart. She's being logical about all this. So more of the message is you want to start eliminating the behaviors and distractions that keep interfering with your dreams. And we can replace the word dreams with goal, whatever your goals are. What are those behaviors and distractions? Being honest with yourself about how you spend your time and take action to start using it better. Start paying more attention to that. Where's your time going? Write it down. You spent so much time on this, so much time on that, so much. Where are you focused? Where's your focus? Where's your time going? And if you have a goal or working on, you need to be efficient with your time and eliminate some behaviors and distractions that are taking up too much of your time, not allowing you to hit your goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I thought that was really apropos for you.
And I think we've talked about this before, and that's something that I'm working on now and trying to really hone in on. Okay, so what am I doing every day for this? So
exactly.
I have to say it's been challenging. I'll say this really, really quickly, but I have fallen in love, and you know how it is. You're in that blissful state, and it's so it's difficult to kind of keep your mind focused. I feel so at peace with this person.
What?
It's just
You know what? We need to do that reading, because I think it was a week or two ago you asked about doing a reading.
Right, I asked you about that. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, maybe we'll do that today after the show too. Let's do a quick reading. And
we will. And I don't want to, because we have callers and
whatnot.
But it's a different kind of feel. And we've both been talking about just how settled we feel. We're in different countries and whatnot. So. And then how you have this pandemic and traveling issues and things of that nature.
Exactly.
But
it makes long distance more long distance.
Right. Well, but one of the things also is that it's not a kind of, it's like I've been calling it like a blissful love. It's not a kind of love where, I have to have this, or where you have all these kind of insecurities and things of that nature. It's just you feel really pleasant and really peaceful. And so anyway, but not to get far into that, we'll I'll keep you guys abreast of what happens as things develop.
Right.
Having
more to come.
Having that aspect, right? More to come. Having that aspect can make things difficult to really just kind of ground yourself and But we've been working on that in scheduling and things of that nature. So, I've been working on that in terms of my life. So that's very, very on point in terms of the reading.
Awesome. So, wanted to mention once again that you can join us on the chat post at psychictalk.net/chat, and we already have a question from Sandy in there. We're going to take her question and a phone call or two before we get into timing in the tarot. So if you're fascinated about, how do you do timing with the tarot, stay tuned. We're going to get to that. But let's take our first phone call of the day here. Who's been waiting the longest? Looks like area code 917. Caller, are you there? What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello, 917. Are you there? Okay, it sounds like they're away from their phone. So we're going to put 917 back on hold, come back to them later. And I do see some people coming in on the switchboard. Remember to press 1 when you get through so it raises the hand, so to speak, puts you up there in the caller queue. We know you want to be live on air with us. The next call that's waiting the longest is 504. Are you there, 504?
Okay.
Hello? Hello, area code 504.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to put them on hold too. All right, so we're going to go to Sandy's question because apparently our callers need time to get ready. Okay, so folks, you got to be ready when you call into a radio show because we might pick up your line at any time. So make sure you are ready because, when we come to you, you got to be ready. We'll try to come back to those folks, but honestly, if you miss it on the first time, you might miss out. So you really want to be ready for when we get to you. And let's give some time for some more callers to call in as well at 714-816-4628. Press 1 as soon as you get through. So Sandy said, I'd like to ask if there's any connection between me and the guy who spoke to me in the parking lot of my workplace today, please. I had crossed paths with him last year at work as he is from a different department. Thanks. Interesting. 100% sure, but I think Sandy's asked this question before. I don't know if it's about the same guy, probably a different guy. But if I'm right about this, Rose, this sounds like it's Sandy's thing. She meets people in the parking lot.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow. That is just, interesting there. And it's like, the parking lot queen. I don't know. So
I think it's one of those meeting people in strange places or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, okay, so pulling cards on this. Well, there's definite possibilities, but, the way the cards initially come out when I look at them, first glance, first impression, first psychic intuition is that, okay, currently there's nothing there. All right, so in other words, okay, you bumped into this guy in the parking lot. That that doesn't mean it's a cosmic happening. You know what I mean, Rose? It was fated to happen. I could go stand in the Walmart parking lot, and if I stand in the same spot long enough, someone's going to come talk to me. Okay, And who knows? We're not privy to the information. Maybe Sandy was getting some physical cues, and of course we don't have her on the phone line, so we can't ask questions. But maybe she was getting some physical cues from this gentleman from like the previous encounter and then this encounter, which may have led her to assume there was something going on, some chemistry maybe too. But I'm just not seeing it in the cards. I'm getting Now, I'm not getting a strong no. I'm going to throw that out there. I'm not getting a strong no.
Okay.
In fact, the very first card is the Ace of Cups. And that's potentially about the beginning or essence of love, joy, inner beauty, good health. Those are some of the common meanings. And, typically in this kind of a context for a question, the Ace of Cups coming up is very good, towards, the beginning of start of some kind of relationship of some sort. So the possibility, the seed for it is there. But straightforward, answering her question specifically the way it was put to us, there's nothing dynamic or special about the occurrence in the parking lot, and chemistry has not developed. Now, that doesn't mean it won't, all right?
Right.
It doesn't, yeah. So she would have to have some more interactions with the gentleman, and then things might change. Like, if she had more interactions with this fellow, asked him out, come have a drink with me, it doesn't have to be big, full-blown, like dinner or lunch or something like that, just after work, we work at the same place, there's probably a pub everybody goes to across the street, go over, have a drink, and start talking, find out more about this guy. And then if you come and call us and we pull cards, it'll probably change then. So, that's how the tarot works. Like, for instance, sometime in the future, she could end up in a relationship with this guy. But at this point, question she asked, the cards are not going to show that, folks. The cards are going to show the trajectory from the current situation through the now into the near future. And there's, no place it's going right now. Why? Because Sandy has not made the decisions that would lead to the outcome that people think would show up in the reading now. That's not how tarot works. I mean, with some people that use tarot more as a prop, and they're kind of, just more of a psychic, and they're not really using the cards. And I don't really think of them as a tarot reader. I think of them as a psychic, and they may come up with different information. I'm a tarot reader. So I'm reading the cards. I'm looking at what's going on. And you can only do a reading in the now. And any potential outcomes are based on trajectory from decisions made in the past, as I said, leading through the now, the moment now, into the future. And so the future is malleable. We have free will. We can make changes. And I know I'm going a little bit on this, Rose, but it's kind of a, teaching moment. I can actually, especially people that are budding new readers out there listening, they've tuned in to hear about timing and tarot. Well, here's another good piece of information that if she ends up in a relationship 2 months from now with this guy, it's not that you are inaccurate if you pulled cards and got the same information that I got. We're working on what we've got right now. And so, right now, there's this, it's showing the Ace of Cups, it's showing the seed and the potential, but there's no chemistry yet. And the incident, the bumping into him it's not karma, it's not fate, it's nothing like that, bumping into him in the parking lot, but it's an opportunity, you see. And so, Sandy, my recommendation would be, like I said, ask him out for a drink, get to know him, and find out more about him and the situation, and then come back and we'll re-ask the question, and the cards will change. That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and I
so there you go,
Sandy.
Sandy.
You gotta, I agree with that. That Sandy, just go ahead and talk to the person. Don't you don't have to wait for the sign. I know a lot of us do that, and I do it too. So I totally understand. I'm waiting for the sign that this is the one, or there's the connection. I need to. You don't have to do that. You don't have to wait for that. A lot of times you don't even know until, weeks, months later. Like, oh, wow, that was very fortuitous that I met this person, blah, 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 more of a hindsight. So just go ahead, take the initiative, talk to the person, go out for a drink, go out for lunch, meet on a break at the water cooler, whatever you got to do. And see what happens from there, Yeah.
And sure, yes, there are signs But a lot of times, these relationships, we make the relationship, we make it happen.
Right.
So, it's not that, okay, is this the one? Show me the sign. It's you could make this the one.
That's right.
Yes, we are all our own magicians. We can get in alignment with the law of attraction. We can make it happen.
Yeah.
So I hope that helped you out there, Sandy. And there's a great example of how you can go into our chat post, type in the comments there on the chat, and you can ask a question. We'll read it live on air and do a mini reading for you. And again, that's psychictalk.net/chat. That URL will always take you to the next live show's chat post. And so you just go there. This is a new feature, so I'm trying to explain it, that you just, right before the show goes live, or as it's going live, just type in on a new tab, psychictalk.net/chat. Go in there, start typing. We will see your messages and be able to respond and chat back with you and things like that. And Sandy, by the way, in the chat post says, that makes sense? Yep. So she's going to work on that.
Oh,
we're going to see what happens. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, time is really getting away from us. I'm gonna try that first number again. Let's see if we can get them on here. Area code 917. Are you ready? Are you there? 917.
I am ready indeed. I do apologize. I got another call.
There he is. Yeah. Well, that happens. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Tim, calling from New York.
Did you say
Tim.
Tim or Jim? Tim.
Tim.
Okay.
T-I-M. Yes.
Gotcha. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. I can't complain. I never complain on Fridays. No matter what's going on, it's Friday.
It's the weekend. That's right.
The weekend.
So, and you're in New York. Were you alive even then? How old are you? That's the thing. It's 20 years later, Rose. We have to actually. Isn't that horrible? We actually have to ask people.
Yeah.
Were you around for 9/11? That's how long ago it was. Yeah. And you're right there in New York.
Yes, indeed. I was alive, and maybe if you feel really old, when I was talking with someone, and they were talking about what they were doing on 9/11, and I was like, yeah, I was at work, and I remember, and they were like, I was in the 3rd grade. And I was like, no, yeah, I was at work. So
Yeah.
A lot older than they are.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah. Where were you on 9/11? Well, I wasn't born yet. I was, I'm only 18 or 19. Oh my God! Talk about making us feel old. So, what do you want to chat about, Tim?
Oh, well, I was chatting. I wanted to chat about to see if there was any sort of messages from Spirit. I'm just trying to bring some abundance in, some new things, new job, different things. So I've been setting the intentions before I go to sleep, asking for my guides to assist me along in this journey, doing a little meditation, a little visualization. Any tips or mantras would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. So the cards are talking about, you're doing the right things. Really focus in on your strategy, from the left hemisphere, and your insights from the right hemisphere of the brain, so to speak. So yeah, you really want to have more strategy going in. Not that you don't now. I hear that you do, but it's saying that a little more could be done. Although this card is showing up early on in the reading, so it could be just referring to how you have been already doing this, But, yeah, I just get that feeling, Pay more attention to your gut feelings and your instincts to kind of steer you down this course, so to speak, And I'm seeing... the real abundance is going to be flowing from working with 3 or more people. So you and 2 or more other people, like building something together, is what I'm getting.
Okay.
And there's a new opportunity showing up with the Ace of Pentacles, that's really apropos, in this type of reading. So a new business venture beginning or essence of prosperity, happiness, pleasure, all the things, abundance, physical energy, all the things you've been talking about, you're right there. You're right there. Now, there's a little lesson, though, that's learned from the Ace of Pentacles, at least from the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the card, because there's this hand coming out of the cloud, like the universe is presenting this opportunity. There's the pentacle in the hand. But below it is this nice, perfect garden. And it's a manicured garden, and there's the flowers, and there's a hedge that goes all the way around with a single opening to the outside world, so to speak. Beyond that, it's rather bleak, and it leads out to a summit in the distance. That's actually where your goal actually is, though. So the lesson here is that you have to think outside the box, and you have to step outside of your comfort zone to reach that goal.
Okay.
That's what that's the big message the tarot wants you to know. Also, at the very end, the Death card shows up, and that is the completion of a phase or a cycle, and it's a card about transformation. One thing ends, another thing begins. So you're right on the precipice of something new happening that's going to bring abundance.
Okay, sounds good. I will keep the course. Open. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks for the call, Tim. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And there's the message from the tarot. The tarot, from my perspective, always gives you what you need to know.
Right.
What do you need to know right then and there? They may ask a question, and the tarot might just not even pay attention, not even answer it, and go with something completely different. This is what, no, this is what you got to hear now. It's like the ultimate life coach that is not going to allow you to squeak by. It's like, no, you need to know this now. But I've got really good feelings and, psychic intuition about Tim and how this could work out. I really think he could start a project with somebody else, with other people,
nice.
Build something together, launch something, but it's going to be, way out of his comfort zone. And remember, all change and prosperity and abundance, that's where it comes from.
Right.
Everything positive like that is outside of our comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And negative the other way, too. Yeah. So, the worst thing that could happen, the best thing that could happen, both of those are outside of your comfort zone.
Right.
And we have to step outside the comfort zone. We also have to step out of our normal surroundings. That's why that card shows, Ace of Pentacles shows that garden and that single entrance, and you got to go beyond the borders, step outside your comfort zone, and also think outside the box. A lot of us get stuck. We get stuck in these ruts, Rose, where it's like, okay, I've only ever made money this way, working for this type of company, doing this type of job. And they don't see abundance possibly coming from any other place or any other,
right.
And you really need to think outside the box, get down to basic elements, meaning looking at yourself, what you've done in the past, look at yourself, okay, what tools do I have? What skills and abilities do I have? Not in relation to a specific job or doing a task, but, really get down to the nuts and bolts of, what do those skills and abilities mean and what are they, so that you can see how you can create value for somebody else. And that's where abundance comes from. Or
what skills you want to develop, maybe there's something that's really calling out to you. Yeah.
Or what you want to develop. Okay. So that opens another line at 714-816-4628. Now we're going to talk a little bit about timing in the tarot. And I'm not going to go deeply into this. Honestly, there's a couple reasons for that. One, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Rose, people overcomplicate this stuff. They overcomplicate.
Yeah.
They overcomplicate timing. They overcomplicate the court cards. They'll sit there and apply all these astrological associations. I use a little bit of it, where I know that a certain, if I'm getting a court card from a certain suit, I know that suit is talking about a certain element which relates to, so like the swords, we're talking about air, so air signs in astrology. And I tell people all the time, I'm not an astrologer, but I will throw out there that, okay, this guy, could be a Gemini, or one of the other air signs, or one of the earth signs, or one of the fire signs, But that's as far as I take it. I keep it very, very simple because we can overcomplicate it a lot. I will give you a little bit of some of the associations and things, but mostly what I'm going to be talking about is tapping into that psychic intuition when doing timing. And the second thing, I have to preface the whole thing, is that I don't like doing predictions, even though I do it every time we're on the radio show. I do, various, predictions and timing and stuff like that, but I'm not a huge fan of it because of like our like the reading with Sarah, talking about how we create our future. And any outcome that I can give you in any timing, and so when we're doing timing, we're looking at an outcome and a timing for that outcome. Anything I give you is just if you stay on the same trajectory, making the same decisions. If you decide that's not what I want and you go off in a different direction, you make a set of different directions, you go to a different outcome, which will also have different timing. You can make things happen sooner. You can make things happen later. You're in full control of everything. I can only tell you what's coming through the cards right now based on the trajectory from the past, the decisions you've made leading up to this very moment, and what you're likely to do going forward. But the real power of tarot is not predicting the outcome and the timing, Rose. The real power is telling you that and letting you make your own decision. Is that where I want to go, and when go there, you see. So I'm not even a huge fan of timing in tarot, but if you're going to do it, keep it simple, stupid, KISS, and use your psychic intuition. A lot of people, when they're attaching these associations from many different things, from the 4 seasons, we'll get into that in a second, the astrology, which I'm not even going to go into, the astrology connections, astrological connections, all these other things that can add to timing, that, they're overcomplicating it. And not only that, it becomes a magic 8-ball. You might as well pull out the pendulum, pull out the magic 8-ball. That's not tarot. It's like, you pull a card and you get this particular astrological association, or you're assigning it to a season of the year or something like that, and you're just saying that. You're just saying what that is. It's like, oh, I got this. This is the 14th, 27th month of the 15th year of the horse, or I'm even throwing in Chinese. No, you could get really complicated, and not only that, when you're just doing it like that and not using your intuition, your psychic ability, you are just a magic 8-ball. You're just shaking the magic 8-ball. Remember that from the 70s and the 80s, the magic 8-ball?
Yeah.
You're just asking a question and shaking it, and getting a, really soon, maybe later, in 2 weeks, or ask me later. You're getting magic 8-ball answers, folks. So how do you do it the right way? Well, okay, before I get into the right way, the simple way, the KISS way, I will talk a little bit about that. And if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, I've made it really easy for you because, and this wasn't me, folks. This was a member on our Tarot Guild group. Remember, I said we have 60 members. You can go to Facebook and search Tarot Guild, look for the group with the 6,300 members, or just type in a browser, thetarotguild.com/Facebook. That'll take you right to the group, too. Join the group, join in the conversations. This member posted a ton of information a couple of days ago about timing with the tarot. And, Rose, talk about timing. What a synchronicity. I don't know that this member even had a clue that we were doing a radio show on timing in the tarot. But there it is. Tons of information. There's this great article that he's reposting there, along with, something on the order of, let me take a look at this post here, 28 images. A lot of them are lists, lists of associations and things like you could print these out and have cheat sheets, or save them to your computer and bring them up when you're with a client. That's another thing about these associations. I do not have the time, energy, or inclination to memorize all these associations, Rose. And so I'm sitting there with the client, and I'm having to pull out a cheat sheet if I'm going to do timing with associations. So I just don't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to go down the rabbit hole, hey, oh my God, there is, associating cards to days of the week and astrology and the Dickens, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right because I'm not an astrologer. Some people associate the wands with days because fire moves quickly, swords weeks, faster, a little slower, water, cups, a little slower, pentacles, earth, years. So pentacles, years, cups, months, swords, weeks, wands, days. If you think air moves faster than fire, you can swap those. Remember, the associations, none of this is written in stone. You decide. You make the decision. You put it into your subconscious as your language of tarot. Remember, tarot is linguistics. Tarot is learning a language. Which the professor of linguistics here, you should love this.
Hey.
Dr. Rose, a doctor of linguistics.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's what we're really doing. We're creating a new language in our brain, and it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks the associations is. It's only what you want them to be. And big message with these associations is just be consistent. Use the same thing. Don't jump between, okay, this week swords are fall, and next week they're summer. Just stick with the associations you're going to go with. But there's associations of, days, weeks, months, even years. Oh, that's another thing I want to mention. Why I don't use some of these timing techniques is because I only go out 6 months. Remember, we've talked about that on the show. I only go out 3 to 6 months because otherwise the timelines diverge too much.
Right.
Remember me explaining how that works? Yeah, so I don't predict in 2 years XYZ is going to happen. So I don't use associations like this where, okay, it's pentacles, so that's years, and it's 3, so that's 3 years from now. Yeah, no, I don't do that because that's impossible to predict because the client can make different decisions and go in different directions like we were explaining earlier. So that's why I don't use those. Timing, there's, Leo and Aries and Sagittarius and Scorpio and Cancer and Taurus and, oh my God, and then there's, air, Mercury, Moon, Venus, air, they do all these associations, and it's all right here on this post. I mean, if you want to dive deep and go down the rabbit hole, feel free. I mean, it's all here. Sunday, the Sun, Monday, the High Priestess, Tuesdays, the Tower, Wednesday, the Magician, Thursdays, Wheel of Fortune, Fridays, the Empress, Saturdays, the World. Have no clue how they're associating those particular days with those particular cards, but there's, an example of timing an event. There's a lot of other stuff in here about timing events, seasons, and but the only one I'm going to give you, the only one that I actually use occasionally, and I don't use it all the time, but I occasionally take a look at the suit. Especially if I'm dealing with court cards. Court cards are a funny thing because all the other cards in the deck have a number on them. Oops, we had a crossed over line there.
Yeah, so
Are you
sorry
there,
about
Rose?
that. You know, when you click on something on your website, then all of a sudden the video comes. I hate it when it does that.
Oh, that's what it
My
was.
apologies,
Oh, okay.
everybody.
Yep. So Dr. Rose is
Exactly.
sexting in the background while we're having this conversation.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, but
not even.
I am not even doing that. Stop it. Okay, so I do want to give out the associations I use for swords, wands, cups, pentacles, the 4 suits. We know that swords are air, wands are fire, cups are water, and pentacles are earth. And the way I do it is pentacles, earth, that's winter to me. The next season is spring, cups, spring, water.
Mm-hmm.
The next is fire, especially for us in Arizona, heat, the summer. That's why I associate it to the wands. And then the winds pick up in the autumn, in the fall, the leaves are falling, swords. Swords is there. So those are the associations I do. Now, some people flip the cups and the wands. They do cups for summer and wands for spring. Some of the reasons for this are in spring you think, new life budding up, the plant kingdom, growth. And when you look at the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the wands, almost all of them always have like some kind of little bud on them growing on the staves or wands that people are holding in the deck. You understand what I mean, Rose?
Yeah.
So some people associate spring then to wands, and then cups, water, going to the beach, summer. So they associate summer with cups. And as I said, just be consistent. Decide what it is for you. For me, it's the opposite. Fire, hot, summer, wands, spring, water, new growth, cups. Okay? Most people, 99% of them, swords is fall, pentacles is winter. Some of those folks even switch. Some folks even switch those, but it's pretty rare. But, that's basically the only associations that I use, okay? And I did want to mention that if you're listening in archive and you go on the Tarot Guild group and you're scrolling and you're trying to find this post, it's actually by Priyanka Yash Jain. And I don't know if they're from India. And there's no title on the post, but when you scroll down, you'll see the 28 pictures, and it says The Cosmic Collective, Timing Techniques in Tarot. If you have trouble finding it on the Tarot Guild group, I have it linked on the show page. So if you're listening in archive, the replay page for the show will be right there on that page, and you can just click it, and it'll take you right to that post. If you want to dive deep down in it, okay. But right now, I'm going to give you my system, which is KISS, and yes, the suits might come up, and I might associate that to a season. Mostly, I'm looking at the numbers. There's no numbers on the court cards. However, in past shows, I've mentioned how I relate the master numbers to the courts. So the pages are 11, the master illuminator number. That would be today, the 11th. The knights are the master builder number, 22, making plans, building. 33 is the master healer, master teacher number, fits in perfectly with the queen. And 44 is the master manifester number, 44, queen 33, knights are 22, if you want numbers for it. 11 is pages. Now, there's 3 things you can do with those numbers, Rose. When you look at master numbers, 11s, 22s, or like 333, 444, the angel master numbers, unlike normal numerology where you add those numbers and reduce to a single digit, you're just looking at the number. They're just trying to get your attention, especially the angel numbers. 444, they want you to look at that 4 energy. You see what I mean? So, if you get this up, let's say you get a knight as a timing card, you can just go with the 2. Or you can add them together. 2 plus 2 is 4 and go with 4. And then, wait, my mind's blanking here. There's a third way of doing it that I do sometimes, and I'm trying to remember because I don't use it much. Remember what it is. So you can go with the full number, 22. Okay, so you can either go with 2, or with pages 11, you can go with 1. You can add the numbers together. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. The other way is you can go with the face value of the number, 11, 22, 33, 44. So maybe 22 means 22 days from now or 22 weeks from now. You see how that works?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you know if it's weeks, hours, days? Well, again, there's those timing systems that use the suit, but I don't do that. What I do is I go with my psychic impression. I relate back to, I think of my client, I think of the questions they just asked, and I close my eyes and I ask for the answer. And I'll either get a psychic impression, gut instinct, I'll hear something, or I'll see something in my mind that will tell me, is it days, is it months? Remember, I don't go out years, maybe 1 year, but not beyond that. So it's normally months or days or weeks. Could be even hours, but, that would be really fast, like swords. Hours or days. And typically, you've heard me on the shows, Rose, if people are asking one of these outcomes, depending on the question, because people are in charge of their future, and, I'm seeing that it's going to happen potentially in 3 months, but they can make it happen faster, so I'll say, or 3 weeks. So you've heard me on the show say a range, right? Like 3 weeks to 3 months. And the reason I do that is because you can make it happen faster, as we've been talking about. So I usually go with the number. So I get the 2 of Pentacles. I've got that 2 energy. I may use the suit. Most likely I won't. Most likely I will just take the 2 and ask, is this, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months? And I'll get an answer, tuition about it. It may be a direct, verbal in my mind. It might be a symbol or a picture I get, or just a gut instinct about it. And that's where I'm going with this. I want you guys to exercise your psychic intuition, especially with timing. You should be doing it with every aspect of reading the cards. But, with timing, don't go with the magic 8 ball. Don't just regurgitate associations that you're seeing. Really pay attention to, what's the circumstances? What's the question from the client? Who is the client? Think of the client, think of the question, think of the circumstances, ask for an answer, yield tuition on this. And that's how I do timing. It's super uber simple. I do not memorize all of these associations. I occasionally use the suit associations, but pretty rarely, because then what do you do when you get a major arcana card? And believe me, they've worked on that, Rose. They've taken all 22 major arcana cards and mapped them out to astrological associations and all this stuff, and it's like, no, my brain, I can't remember all this stuff, and I don't want to learn all that, So I'll just take the numbers involved. Card 14, the Temperance card from the Major Arcana, Rose. 1 plus 4 is 5. So depending on my psychic intuition on it, I may go with 5, 5 weeks from now. I may go with the 14 days from now, or do a range, depending on what I'm getting intuition-wise. And that's basically how I do tarot timing. Very, very simple. Have any ideas about that, or questions, or anything like that?
About timing?
Yeah.
No,
anything. I mean,
nothing more than what you said. I think it's you can always use, as you said, with the different seasons and things of that nature that are represented in the tarot cards and the numbers. But nothing is ever, it's, I think a lot of times people look for, this is definitely going to happen. And no, we don't really know what can happen in the future. Anything can happen in the future, that might, present any obstacle or anything like that. And the idea is just to say, okay, based upon what I'm saying, like when I noticed this, when you see a lot of positive cards, like, wow, this is really flowering, it's blooming, it's happening, things are coming together. More than likely, whatever this person wants to manifest is going to happen sooner than later, right? Because all the things are in alignment,
Rose, brilliant,
for that to happen. But it doesn't mean, for sure it will happen. The future really is not written, and there are a million things that can go on preventing something from happening. We just say, look, here are the things that you want to do to get to that point.
Right.
Keep the positivity going. Do the law of attraction. Go out and talk to the guy or whatever it is.
I'd rather help them manifest it than talk about timing when it might happen.
Right. Right. Because people can.
And by the way,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to throw in real quick. Actually, I've got a couple of things, but let me just give this one thing is about that a lot of tarot readers don't even do timing, especially on the radio shows. Talking not about our current hosts, but the dozens and dozens of hosts going back over the last 10 years. I've been on shows with people where they'll just flat out say, I don't do timing. And so what I'll do is I'll do the timing, in that situation. But the other thing is I wanted to talk into, where I'm getting the timing card from. But what were you going to say? Finish up with your thought, and then I'll just give this last point that I forgot to do.
No, now I've forgotten. But, I mean, just basically the idea is that, we're more like guides. We can't tell you exactly what the result will be. That's not really determined by a tarot reader, and we can't predict exactly when something is going to happen. What we can do is to say, it looks like more than likely this will happen sooner or later, and then you have to do the work. You have to go out there. You have to keep the positivity going. If there are things that you need to change in your scheduling or whatever it is, the way you think, then you have to do that. Because if you decide, okay, I'm not going to do anything more and that's it, that could change your future outcome right there. So it really isn't dependent upon us. We're more like guides along the way. Like, you probably don't want to go down that street. You probably want to go down this one. And it looks really good,
right,
but, you just don't know. I mean, it's like driving. Anything could hop out into the road all of a sudden. You're like, oh, my God, I don't know. That's what I say about timing.
I mean, there are tarot readers out there that in timing, I mean, they will get down this very, very specific information. But honestly, it's just a guesstimate. Even if they're giving you the exact hour, day, date, I don't care. It's like the client can change their trajectory anytime they want, make different decisions, go down a different path. And, it doesn't make it inaccurate what they're saying. They're just giving them a lot of information on one pinpoint of time that is a potential outcome, according to what they're seeing right now. But
exactly,
I don't like doing that. I tend to, give a range, or a season, sometimes even a particular month or a couple of months, and I always then, I don't know how to call it, but I also, reinforce the fact that, but you can make it happen sooner if you want, or you can make it not happen at all if that's not what you want. You can make decisions and go down a different path to a different outcome at a different time.
Right.
So I always, tell them that there's that option. I'm not saying that this will happen at the exact time. And I don't give exact times. I don't give hours and days, the exact. It's going to happen on next Thursday at 2 p.m. I mean, there's been times where I said, somewhere in the next week, I could see something manifesting along this lines if you keep on the same trajectory, things like that. So the last thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to say in the discussion earlier about timing was the card itself. So, on air I'm doing a advanced yes/no spread that's 5 cards. You lay them out in a straight line. There's the central focus card, which is the main thing in my readings, and you really don't even need the other cards. The answer is right there in the middle, and that's the here and now, and the cards to the left are going into the near past, and the cards on the right are going into the near future. So the rightmost card I also take as the timing card, as well as a potential outcome card. Now, sometimes, not always, but, I talked about how to, get the numbers and do timing with the court cards. Now that I've said all that, I'm going to throw it all out and say, typically, if I get a court card as the last card, perhaps it's a romance, reading, and the first 4 cards talk about how to get there, and if you do these things, you're going to get to that last card, which is, the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, and I'll tell you what the astrological association of the sun signs are for that, and so it might be somebody that's a Sagittarius or a Capricorn, blah, blah, blah. But then what I will do is I will typically not even use my own system of numbers for court cards. Typically what I'll do is I'll pull a timing card. So that's another thing you can do. I'll reshuffle and I'll pull a card. Sometimes I pull 2-3 cards. And I start laying cards down, actually, And so if I pull, I'll pull a card and then pull a card and then pull a card is typically what I do. And if one or more of those cards are court cards, I don't use them for timing. I use the very last card I get. Hopefully it's a number. If not, I draw another card. So I get one that has a number. And any court cards that show up in the mini timing spread are other potential actors in this drama, whether it be another potential suitor or somebody that is going to help you get with this person that was in the main spread that showed up at the end, that kind of thing. And then I'll take the numbers from the other card or cards that I'm pulling out. Also, I even though I don't use them, I'm just going to mention that there's timing spreads, folks. There's timing spreads for everything. There are hundreds of them. You can Google it. There's actually, I think, in that post that I linked from the show page on our Tarot Guild Facebook group, I think there's actually some spreads potentially in that one. I'm not 100% sure. There was like 28 images or something, that he posted, he or she. But just Google it. Timing spreads for tarot or tarot timing spreads, and you're going to get a deluge of different spreads, and you might find some of them very useful maybe. Try them out, work with them. I don't use timing spreads, but I may pull timing cards or a tiny mini tarot timing spread. So there you go. So get out there and start timing. Oh, so we are at the end of the show here. And if we didn't get to your call today, remember, I'll be back tomorrow. In fact, we didn't even do the upcoming show. You want to do the upcoming shows, Rose, on the network?
Yes. Okay, so everybody, I'll be talking about the upcoming shows on Psychic Talk Radio. And just to let you know, we have shows on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays. And each show starts at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. So it's always 11 a.m. on the Pacific Coast and 2 p.m. Eastern. So let's see what's coming up for tomorrow. The wonderful Dax Carlisle and Mary Brown with their show Tarot Today Radio. They're going to be talking about tarot advisors dealing with the health crisis dealing with health crisis questions. So that's what you. That sounds like really exciting, actually, Dax. In terms of, how do you advise someone when you're talking about health issues in the tarot? What are some of the things, the angles around that?
And of course, we're talking about any health question, but specifically with when we said health crisis, we were referring to the COVID. Because in the times we live in now, a lot of questions come up around this. In fact, Mary works on Keen.com, and to do readings for clients, paid readings. And Keen, the website, they actually issued some guidelines, to their advisors.
Right.
I call them advisors on there, And we figured, hey, what a great topic to talk about to help our tarot advisors and readers out there deal with these, sometimes very difficult questions surrounding COVID-19, the health crisis, and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we'll be taking your calls tomorrow, too. So if we didn't get to you today, call in tomorrow. What else is coming up this week?
So on Sunday, we have the Magic Universe with Sharona Rapsick, and she will be talking about the life and legacy of Pamela Pixie Coleman Smith. So I'm not sure who she is, though. Do you know?
Yes. So when we refer to this Waite-Smith deck, or sometimes Rider-Waite-Smith, the company that published it was in England was called Rider, which is long since gone. It's U.S. Games in the U.S. that actually publishes RWS, or I like to just call it Waite-Smith nowadays because Rider doesn't exist anymore. And when we're talking about Waite-Smith, we're talking about so Waite was the one that designed the concept of the deck, but it was Pamela Smith, the Smith part of Waite-Smith, that actually did the illustrations. She was the one that put images on the pip cards, the basically the minor arcana cards, the suits. They used to just have, if it was the 3 of coins, there was 3 coins. That was it. That was the picture. She created these images that give you a lot more symbols and information, you see, and was the first one to do that. Very brilliant, and she was a stage decorator and artist, and I can't wait to listen in on that show myself, actually.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. And then to be able to take something, the representations, and put that in visually it's a pretty remarkable skill and talent to have. So that ought to be really exciting. So that's what's happening on Sundays, folks. On Sunday, this particular Sunday. And then Monday, as you know, we have the Wisdom of the Soul show. That'll be hosted by Janice Fuchs. And then Wednesday, you will be learning on living your best life during uncertain times. And this is the Compassionate Light, Healing, and Guidance Hour with Catherine Hahn. So that's what we have coming up in the alignment. Oh, and of course, next Friday we'll be back. The Dr. show.
You and me.
With Dax and Rose. And we're talking about Wake Back to Bed, powerful lucid dreaming. So that ought to be a really exciting topic. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait for that one. Of course, we'll be doing open lines and life coaching and mini tarot readings on that show, as we always do. But we have that really cool topic, powerful lucid dreaming. A lot of people want to learn how to lucid dream, and we got some techniques for you, one of which is the Wake Back to Bed technique. That's what that means. It's actually a technique we'll be going over, Wake Back to Bed. And we'll be talking all about, lucid dreaming and how to do that. And, it really comes in handy if you think about it, Rose, because a lot of times on the radio shows, what do we tell people to do? Program their dreams before they go to sleep, and set out their pad of paper and their pen so when they wake up first thing in the morning, they can write down everything they can remember from their dreams to get the answers that they're looking for, the direction, how to get to their goals, how to manifest. You can ask your subconscious to work on this while you're asleep. And if you're doing lucid dreaming, you can actually guide the experience. So it's a really powerful thing to be able to do in relation to what we've always talked about on the radio show.
Nice.
I'll
be there.
So that's what's coming up.
Yeah.
Remember, you can always go over to psychictalk.net, our website, and look up the upcoming shows. The direct URL is psychictalk.net/upcoming. That will take you to the upcoming shows, the upcoming episodes. And I've got it, I've got the shows listed and even the post created going all the way out to Saturday, October 3rd on there. So, so you can see all the upcoming shows, pull out your calendar, plan accordingly. Yeah, I want to catch this show. Yeah, I want to catch that show. Great stuff coming up. And the titles on that page, if you click on the title, like you see that title for Wake Back to Bed, Powerful Lucid Dreaming. If you click on that, it'll take you to the show page with all the information. It'll have the link to the show page on Blog Talk Radio with the player where you can listen to it. It'll have the call-in number. It'll have the link to the chat post. Everything is right there, and more information, plus links to my page, links to Rose's page. So go check that out, psychictalk.net/upcoming. The last thing I wanted to leave everybody with, I forgot to mention this earlier, that we decided to extend the Labor Day 20% off at the Tarot Guild. So if you're a professional, 20% off, and all you got to do is use the promo code LABOR, so all capital letters, LABOR20, LABOR20, and you just go over to the Tarot Guild site, and you can join the professional membership. We call it the Premium Pro membership. You'll find information about it at thetarotguild.com/join. We've had a lot of people joining the website. You can join the website for free, by the way, folks. And we've had a lot of people joining the website for free coming on board there, Dr. Rose. I'm getting really excited about the ball seems to start, it seems like it's starting to snowball with the new website.
Yeah.
It's a social networking website like Facebook, like social media websites out there, has all those features just like on Facebook, except it's all tarot all the time at thetarotguild.com. But you can also, besides the free membership, which, gives you access to pretty much everything, there are some additional features of the website, the professional membership, additional things that you don't get as a free member that you can get as a premium member, including your certified tarot reader, CTR certification. That level of certification is included free with your membership, which is 20% off right now. So you can go, you also get a membership certificate. You go through the certification process if you want to, and you get your CTR certificate as well. So you get like 2 certificates and all kinds of other goodies, like you're able to post and customize your page on the website. You don't even need your own website. You'll have thetarotguild.com/you. So, awesome stuff, and it's 20% off right now. I can't remember what that comes to. It's normally $78 for the year. I think it comes out to be around $62 and change, really dirt cheap. thetarotguild.com/join. If you're brand new to tarot and numerology, you can enroll in my Tarot by the Numbers course, also with that 20% off. So instead of $78, it's $62 and change to enroll right now in my course. You'll find that at thetarotguild.com/learn. You can read all about the course. You can look at the course outline and enroll right there at thetarotguild.com/learn. And that's good through this weekend till Monday, and then it's going away, folks, the 20% off discount. So take advantage of it right now and, join us as a pro member or enroll in the course or both. And we'd love to have you over there at thetarotguild.com. At the very least, go over to thetarotguild.com and check out the new website and join the website for free. If you go to that join page, there's actually a link to join the website for free. You have access to the free groups on the site. You have access to the activity feed. You have your own page on the site. We don't talk about this enough. There's so many cool things on there, Rose. You have access to the forums and the articles, and oh my God, there's so much there, and it's only just getting started. You can help actually build the website up, get a lot of your own posts on there when you're a premium member as well. So there you go, folks. That's all I've got for you today, and we're going to sign off. Thanks, everybody, for being here, and you, Rose. Great show.
Great show indeed, and thank you, everybody who came and listened and are listening to the replay, and everybody have a blessed week.
Yep. I'll see you tomorrow on the radio with Mary, and Rose and I'll be back next week. So goodbye, everybody. Have a great day, great weekend.
Bye.
Bye, Rose.
Bye, Dax.